Hello there. Ip Man's life revolves around martial arts and his own popularity. After all, he was Bruce Lee's personal mentor. However, life teaches him a tragic lesson that forces him to change his priorities. The martial arts master has saved many people, but failed to save the life of the person closest to him. Ip Man is a renowned master of the martial art of Wing Chun. He lives in Hong Kong with his wife and young son. One day, early in the morning, a young boy named Sui Long comes to his house. He wants to become Ip Man's disciple. To pass the selection, he has to demonstrate his speed to the master. Ip Man lights a match and a cigarette. The boy fails to stop his actions with strikes. However, after this, the young fighter did not hesitate and successfully reflected the next improvised attacks of the master. Ip Man appreciates his abilities, but gives no answer. He silently opens the front door and looks at the boy as if he's seeing him off. At an elementary school in Hong Kong, the kids run outside to watch a spectacle. Two boys, Ip Ching and Xiong Fong, are about to fight in the Wing Chun style to see who is better and stronger. However, the clash turns into a regular brawl. Each one gets punched in the eye, and the teacher comes running to separate them. The boys have to apply a compress made of boiled eggs to the wounds. Ip Ching's mother helps the teacher with this, and later his father arrives too. That's Ip Man himself, who got held up at a martial arts hall. But no one picks up Xiong Fong. His father is a rickshaw driver and busy at work. He seems to be struggling to support his family. The boy is clearly hungry and wants to eat the egg that was used to make him a compress. Ip Man and his wife notice this and invite him over for dinner. Xiong Fong is having a good time with his new acquaintances. They feed him a large portion of a delicious dinner, and then he exercises with the martial arts equipment. Ip Man points out that the boy is already trained quite well. Xiong Fong's father comes to pick him up. He calls his son a disciple, and the boy calls his father a master. In the presence of their parents, the kids apologize to each other and promise to be friends. The fathers do the same.
不好意思，张先生。
On their way home, the master and his disciple discuss Ip Man. Cheong Tin Chi promises his son that one day he will be much stronger and more famous. It turns out that the man fights for money. During the fight, the leader of the criminals, Frank, arrives. If it isn't the Iron Mike himself, he is met by Ma King Sang. He assures the boss that everything is under control and gives him the money he earned. Frank discusses a new criminal plan with his subordinate. To execute it, he needs to take over the Hong Kong elementary school and gives him 2 weeks to solve the matter. During the conversation, Frank looks with interest at the ring where Tin Chi is fighting and notes to himself that the fighter is very good. A reporter comes to the martial arts school where Ip Man teaches. He wants to write a news article and take a group photo. When everyone is seated, Ip Man is called to the phone. It's his wife. He forgot about the dance club meeting. Wing Sing is hurt and tells him not to bother, as it's already too late. Ip Man doesn't mind his wife's resentment at all. The photo is more important to him now, and the headmaster himself has left him a seat right in the center. Ip comes to pick his son up from school. Women passing by recognize him, talk to him, and compliment him. The master is pleased with this and is friendly with everyone. Ip Man also meets his new friend, Tin Chi, there. During their conversation, they realize they've learned martial arts from the same master. Thus, they are brothers in arms. Tin Chi hints that they might spar a bit to see how each other's skills compare. Ip Man doesn't like this turn of events. He replies in a reluctant manner and turns away, ending their conversation. Frank's subordinates show up at the school and intimidate the principal and teachers. Ma King Sang issues an ultimatum. The principal must sell the school. When he refuses, the bandit forces him to sign the papers and tortures the frightened man. Until Ip Man appears. He noticed the suspicious trio as he was leaving with his son. The master skillfully disarms the assailants and calls the police. Since the children are in danger, it's a good idea to put the school under surveillance. But Detective Fat Po tells Ip Man that he can't do that. Crime is rampant in Hong Kong, and they rush out to every call, just as they have come now. In case of danger, the detective promises to send out a squad again. The next morning, the gates of the school are boarded up. Parents, students, and teachers crowd around the entrance in bewilderment. Together, the men in the crowd dismantle the barricade and open the school for classes, while the already familiar criminals are watching. Ip Man and his disciples spot them in the crowd. The master realizes that they won't just leave the school, so he decides to keep night watch here with the students of his martial arts school. Just when it seemed that the first watch had passed with no incidents, criminals burst onto the school grounds in a huge crowd. They divide into 2 groups. Some take on Ip Man, while others burst into the classrooms, pour gasoline on the floor, and set it on fire. The headmaster, with a bag over his head, is taken away by the criminals. Master Ip rushes to save the headmaster, and a mob of thugs with poles tries to stop him. The numbers advantage does not help them, as Ip Man is flawless in the art of Wing Chun. His movements are effortless, his punches precise, and his movements lightning quick. Tenchi also appears outside the school. He drops the ricksaw and starts fighting. His Wing Chun techniques prove to be just as perfect. His opponents are scattered as easily as autumn leaves in the wind. The assailants escape, leaving the headmaster behind. The school fire is extinguished. The assembled crowd thanks Ip Man and his students for saving them, but the master catches up and thanks Tenchi, who has left unnoticed as well. When Ip Man returns home, he is met with the disapproval of his wife. He already does not come home for dinner, and now he's not even there at night. But the master has an excuse. He is needed at the school to guard it and put out fires. Tenchi and his son are looking for a vacant room after work, because the man's dream is to open his own school and teach Wing Chun. Fat Po brings the police chief a report on the night school arson and asks permission to start an investigation. But he encounters an unexpected reaction. The chief keeps the document on the pretext that he will take care of it himself. Ip Man continues to keep watch at the school. His wife is alone at home again when she starts feeling sick for the first time. Wing Sing goes to the pharmacy complaining of her lower abdomen pain and is offered pills to normalize blood circulation. Fat Po tells Ip Man that he has not been allowed to investigate the school arson case. The police chief has long been bribed by criminals and the case is hopeless. Master Ip disagrees with him. He believes that all efforts should be made to solve the case, because the students of the school are the future of society, and they will grow up to be the kind of adults they take as an example. Ip Man returns home at night again. His wife and son, no longer waiting for him, are sleeping peacefully. All that awaits him is a cold dinner on the table. In the morning, Wing Sing's condition gets worse, and she immediately goes to the hospital. The doctor examines her and tells her the terrible news, that she has cancer. On her way home, Wing Sing sees her husband outside. He is, as always, in good spirits and surrounded by people who really need him. Tenchi, meanwhile, has finished off another opponent. King Sang comes up to him after the fight and offers him good money to become a mercenary. And if he refuses, he won't be able to fight here anymore. For the sake of his son and the dream of his own school, Tenchi agrees to do the dirty work and is assigned to beat up the headmaster of the martial arts school. Ip Man returns home, but a phone call immediately directs him to the hospital. The director of the martial arts school has been admitted there in critical condition. Wing Sing lets her husband go without saying a word. Only in the hospital did Ip Man realize that he had bought into the bandit's tricks, and it had worked perfectly. King Sang distracted him and used the time to kidnap the children from the school. The villain is ready to trade the children for the headmaster of the Hong Kong elementary school, whom he wants to force to sell it. Master Ip goes to the bandit's den alone. He has only a bamboo pole to fight the armed criminals. His son, who is also among the kidnapped, calls him from the cage. Threatening the boy with a knife, Ma King Se forces the master to put down his weapon, kneel and bow. Ip Man meekly obeys his instructions. In the meantime, Tenchi arrives at the scene. His son is also among the captured children. Before the eyes of Ip Man, the boy is freed, and a mob of mercenaries is ordered to subdue Ip. However, the children's promise to be friends proves stronger than the one made by parents. Not for Ip Man's sake, but at his son's request, Tenchi returns to free the hostages, while Master Ip easily handles the criminal mob. Tenchi fights King Sang. The bandit proves to be weaker, and to save his own skin, grabs Ip Ching and escapes under the cover of a gang of fighters. Master Ip catches up with him in the hangar, rescues his son, and continues the fight. He manages to hold out until the cops arrive. While the cops are handcuffing the mercenaries, Ma King Sang jumps out the window and escapes. Fat Po brings along reporters who photograph everything for a front-page article in the newspaper. Ip Man and his son return home. Wing Sing meets them in tears. She is angry at her husband for letting her son get into danger. For the first time in a long while, the master pays attention to his wife's feelings and sits down to talk to her. Thus he learns the terrible news of Wing Sing's fatal illness. The tumor is already very large and treatment is impossible. The doctors give Wing Sing no more than 6 months to live. From that moment on, his wife becomes the focus of Ip Man's life. This is the woman who had been with him in joy and sorrow, wealth and poverty, and treated him when he was wounded. He had helped everyone around him, but he had forgotten about her. Frank is not happy. The bribed police chief informs him that he can no longer protect him if he and his thugs continue to openly break the law. The school issue is unresolved, and the problems are piling up. To improve the situation, Frank first kicks Ma King-sang out and sends a new thug for Ip Man. He attacks the master while he and his wife are in the elevator. But even in this enclosed space, not a single blow was able to reach Wing Sing. Under the agile and precise attacks, Ip Man's opponent is exhausted and collapses to the floor. The master orders him to get away. Ip Man comes to Frank himself. He wants to end the rivalry that threatens his wife's quiet life. Frank arrogantly examines the man all of China is talking about and offers to have a fight with him here and now. A boxer versus a Wing Chun master, and if the latter lasts 3 minutes, Frank will leave him alone forever. Ip Man agrees to the duel. At first he finds it hard to withstand the heavyweight's attacks. He only has time to deflect the crushing blows that knock him to the ground and break the furniture around him. But after learning his opponent's style, Ip Man manages to go on the offensive. Now Frank is getting beaten and wants to knock his opponent out with his signature uppercut, but has no time to hit him. Frank has to accept the truce and retreat for good. Ten Chi, meanwhile, uses the dirty money to rent premises and open his own martial arts school. He wants to become the most famous Wing Chun master and surpass Ip Man. To do so, he takes turns challenging lesser-known masters to a duel. And a hired reporter writes articles about each of his victories in the newspaper. His fame grows rapidly, and on the day the school opens, Ten Chi is visited by the minister himself. In the presence of him and reporters, he publicly challenges Ip Man to a duel. The news reaches the master, but he ignores the challenge. The duels are in the past. Now, he only cares about Wing Sing. The couple spend time together and are perfectly happy. As happy as they can be when one of the two are slowly dying. Late one night at Siu Long's dance studio, arrives a man who wants to learn from him. The good-natured guy, who did not become Ip Man's disciple, offers an exchange. He will teach the master to dance, and he in turn will teach him Kung Fu. The day and time of Ip Man and Ten Chi's scheduled duel arrives, to which the master does not attend. He goes to dance with his beloved wife for the first time in a long time. Because of his opponent's absence, Ten Chi is declared the winner and the new true master of Wing Chun. The students of Ip Man's school do not tolerate the injustice and riot. Wing Sing lost consciousness when dancing. She wakes up in the hospital. The doctors say that her condition is getting worse. On the doctor's advice, Ip Man leaves her alone in the room, but he comes every day to feed her soup and brings their son with him. Wing Sing prepares for her imminent death by asking Ip Man to take their last family photos together. For a while, the woman is released from the hospital, and after a session with the photographer, the couple go home. There, Wing Sing all of a sudden tells Ip Man that even though he has been by her side for many days, his school needs him too, and he must agree to the duel. Moreover, she has already invited Ten Chi herself.
你可不可以再打一次给我听?
Ip Man and Wing Sing arrive at Ten Chi's school. Just the two of them, no reporters, ministers, or spectators. The first weapon in the duel is a bamboo pole. The opponents shower each other with fast and accurate techniques, but no one can bypass the rival's defense. It is as if each of them are fighting his own reflection. Their techniques are equally flawless. In confirmation of their even strength, the weapons break at the same time. The next stage is a knife duel. The clash of metal rips through the silence of the room. The opponents strike mercilessly, but each offense is broken by the iron defense of the other. No one has the advantage. The forces are once again equal. That leaves only unarmed combat. Powerful melee attacks begin to take their toll, and each of them misses a punch. Ten Chi uses a formidable technique, a punch to the eye. Ip Man loses his visual senses and must now rely on his hearing alone. This brings him to the state of maximum concentration and speed. The master punches his opponent in the body with precision and lightning speed. Ten Chi collapses. It is clear from the look in his eyes that he has accepted defeat. Wing Sing has passed away. Ip Man, on the other hand, continued his life work and received the title of Great Master, and taught the Wing Chun technique to his son as well. Let us know in the comments. Do you know any real stories of fame and popularity making a person forget about the people closest to them? As always, look for the movie titles in the description of the video. Like the video and don't miss our next retelling.